Uh, Welcome, Alice. Thank you for joining Spaces, and I look forward to this discussion. And perhaps we could start by uh, outlining, if you could outline what AFD's platform is, what are the main things you're aiming for, where does Germany need change, and just to educate people who have never heard of AFD or IFD for German. And a lot of people, especially in America, have never heard of AFD, so perhaps this will be very helpful.
Okay. Thank you very much, Elon, for having me and to give this opportunity to openly speak about different matters. Let me just, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Perfect, perfect. To start with, who we are. The AfD is the alternative for Germany. It is a relatively new party founded 11 years ago during the course of the Euro um, um, problems. Unfortunately, I have to start when I shed some light on our party with the quite negative circumstances in Germany. Our country is a great country with highly motivated people, but our country has been governed not in a proper way within the last 25 years. We had the Angela Merkel administration for 16 years and then the so-called traffic light coalition that imploded last year. And now we're having elections. In my point of view, Angela Merkel, the first Green Chancellor, she ruined basically our country. She enforced, without asking the people, she enforced to open our borders for illegal immigration in 2015. She wrecked and destroyed our backbone in terms of obnoxious energy policy. For the foreign listeners here in this audience, Germany is the only industrial country that unplugged the nuclear power plant. So the aim of Angela Merkel was to enforce just solar and wind energy. And you don't need to be very smart to encounter that you cannot run an industrial country with just wind and solar because you don't have any energy and electricity when the sun doesn't shine and when the wind doesn't blow. And this is a major
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I mean, obviously, I'm a big fan of solar energy, but clearly, if a country is at a very high latitude, then the amount of solar power in the winter is going to be substantially reduced.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's a significant difference in the day-night cycle of energy usage. So a lot of power can be done with solar and with large-scale grid energy batteries, but it must be supplemented with other forms of power because there's not a lot of sunshine in the middle of winter in Germany. So the solution obviously must be a multifaceted solution where there's certainly the renewables, but also there does need to be some amount of fossil fuel energy and especially nuclear. I think nuclear is very much underrated. I think it was tragic for Germany to shut down the nuclear power plants. In fact, they're very well designed, and I think that the right move is in fact to increase the amount of nuclear power substantially in Germany. This would be great.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That was the reason why I wanted to shed some light on the current situation. So in order to form an opinion what our party stand for, because this is exactly what you said. We stand for a energy supply diversification. We cannot run a industrial country like Germany with a still strong manufacturing base. To tell you the truth, our manufacturing production it peaked in 2018 and it plummeted since then due to high energy costs. And you cannot run a country like that. So therefore, we say, look, we need to be technology open. And we need to reinforce again nuclear power plants because nuclear energy supply is carbon free, right? So therefore, we would also reduce our carbon footprint, which is obnoxiously very high. And this is the entire irony about it. So our governments like the Angela Merkel government and the so-called ridiculous traffic light coalition, they enforced a green policy upon our country that doesn't work. And and we would like to go back to technology openness here.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, my recommendation, and I've said this publicly before, is that Germany should not merely reopen the nuclear power plants, but substantially increase the power generation. The you don't, in the same space, meaning without increasing the size of the nuclear power plant in any meaningful way, without increasing the amount of land area that it uses, you can dramatically increase the power output of a nuclear power station because the actual core part of the power station is extremely tiny. People don't quite realize just how small the center core of a nuclear power plant is.
Yes.
It's like amazingly tiny. And so you can actually, in the same land area, no increased land area, dramatically increase the amount of nuclear power that any given nuclear power station is producing. You do need a water source for to run the steam turbines, but really far more power output is possible than people realize. And I think that the sensible solution is renewables, but with a lot of nuclear, and then to supplement where that there has to be some amount of hydrocarbon power generation to supplement.
Yes.
Where it just needs to be sensible.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you know what? So just let me do just like one more example, because like wind turbines, wind energy in comparison to nuclear power supply is highly inefficient. Also, in terms of land use. So, for instance, I give one example just to shed some light on it. If you were to replace one nuclear power plant, let's say like Emsland nuclear power plant here in Germany, with an annual electricity production of 10 billion kilowatt per hour, with modern wind turbines, with a production of just 8 million kilowatt per hour per year, you would need 1,250 wind turbines just to replace this one power plant. And with a rotor diameter of 70 meters and the minimum distance from large wind farms, you end up around with like 100 square kilometers. For example, this corresponds to half of the major city of Stuttgart, right? So this entire thing, and just to stress the fact again, you don't need to be very smart just to do your calculations. But our energy policy. Sorry.
The crazy thing is like a bunch of these energy questions. You do not need to be like a world leading physicist. It's very basic math, like
yes,
less than high school level math. I'd say middle school math even. It's very straightforward, not complicated.
Yes, absolutely. And then during the crisis, like during the war, Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah. So during the war of Ukraine, so our gas supply was just destroyed, and that actually shed some light on our severe dependence on Russian gas. And do you know what the government decided in this crisis when the energy prices skyrocketed after we were cut off of cheap energy supply from Russia? They switched off the last nuclear power plant to even more create a shortage of energy. So either you must be very stupid, or you just hate your own country. Isn't it?
I think it's mostly the very stupid category.
The very stupid.
Well, I mean, there's an old saying that like one should never ascribe to malice that which can easily be explained by incompetence.
Yes, you're perfectly right. Now, so.
Yes, I actually, when I saw that Germany was spinning off the power plants after being cut off from gas supplies from Russia, I thought this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Just when Germany most needs electricity, Germany is shutting down one of the best sources of electricity, which is nuclear power.
Yes, and completely carbon free.
Yeah, crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I guess if to summarize the two main things that AFD is aiming for in terms of change is a sensible energy policy and sensible immigration policy.
Yes, exactly.
So
but actually even more. So we would like, so if I may continue a little bit, because now Elon, it's a complete new situation for me, that I just can have a normal conversation and I'm not interrupted or negatively framed, how that has been in the media the case in the last 10 years, which is completely ridiculous. So what we also stand for, since we are a conservative libertarian party, so at least we see ourselves like this, but we are extremely negatively framed as a so-called extremist party by the mainstream media. So we just say, look, we need to reduce bureaucracy. We need to free our firms, our companies, the individuals of this obnoxious bureaucratic conditions here. Do you know, like, how long it takes, how many days it takes to get a business permit in Germany? Just guess.
well, as it turns out, I do, because we.
Oh yeah, the big plan. So how many days did it take you?
A car factory, just near Berlin. So we had many challenges. I mean, this is, to be clear, like we actually had a lot of support, a lot of local support, from like the local government, from the national government, and despite all that support, just the sheer number of rules that the people in the government are required to follow is completely crazy. And we had to, I think it was 25,000 pages was our permit. And it had to be printed on paper.
25,000.
Yes, the 20. I think
this is crazy.
More than that in the end, 25,000, and then there has to be many copies made. So it literally was a truck of paper. Because and we're like, surely we can make this electronic. Isn't that better?
No, not possible. You need to have that on paper in Germany.
And no, it has to be paper. I'm like, this is crazy. This is only a few years ago. It's not the distant past. I mean, it's like we're well into we're a quarter of the way through the 21st century. It's like, guys, let's just 25,000 actual printed pages, and then I believe every page needed to be stamped with a physical stamp. I mean, it's going to really tire somebody out to do so much.
Yeah.
They're going to get some
many people with tired arms.
Yeah, they're going to get a repetitive stress injury from having to stamp something.
Stress injuries?
Like, just send it to the hospital or something. I mean, that's
yeah.
Truck
of paper.
But like, I'm not trying to blame the sort of individuals who are doing this thing, because they are just following the rules. So we have to change the rules, and there needs to be, I think, in my view, for all countries, but especially countries that have enjoyed prosperity for a long time, it is extremely important to have what I call sort of garbage collection of rules, which is to re-examine the rules and regulations, and make sure that they are clearly a net good. And if there's any doubt about them being a net good, we should eliminate them, because otherwise we get to this point where everything is illegal. And so it's absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. And it's not only about bureaucracy, it's also about taxes. Germany has the highest taxes.
Yes.
Of all OECD countries. So the normal German employee, he works more than half of a year for the state. You have to imagine that. With taxes plus social security, so more than half of the year you work for this dysfunctioning state, because the state does not provide the vital provisions for the people.